Here we sit. What? Don't bite your head. Oh. Like you're like a human, I'm the lion. Is that what that's all about? All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's no problem. Doing a little Tuesday night show. I'm probably going to be doing shows, at least an hour-long show, most days of the week this week. So, welcome aboard. Got the little kitten here. You know what I'm saying, Muna? You're just hanging out. They shorted the crap out of GME today. Whoa. What, you want to go upside down? Is that what you want to do? You go upside down? You want to go away and go next to the fat guy? Go next to the fat guy? All right, go to that fat guy. There we go. They shorted the crap out of GME today. There was nothing in the market conditions that warranted that. Like there's no market forces, there's no news, there's no merger acquisition, there's no dilution, nothing got filed. It was purely a short attack by market makers and short hedge funds. And in the title here, I'm betting it's Citadel. That Citadel floated an emergency $500 million bond yesterday, and they used that cash to do shorting today. Because the options writers, market makers, Citadel, were going to be on the hook for $300 and something million plus dollars come Friday in liability for these shares. So what they do is they get this cash, that gives them the capital they need to meet capital requirements, start shorting the crap out of it, and they just dump stuff on the market, and they dump into dark pools, and they just suck up buy pressure. And then any options writers who had to accumulate shares last week and yesterday to make good on what was in the money today, now it's out of the money. So they start dumping, and that just feeds into it, and it just goes da, 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 da. And so it was a very, very, very successful short attack that they had not been able to pull off the past few days when they've tried it. But today they had enough capital behind them to get it done. And so here we go. I mean, it's not the first time Citadel has done this. Usually around this swap period, they float a $500 to $600 million bond, and all of a sudden, they short the hell out of GME every single time. So here we are, looking at them try to get everything back to max pain again. We'll see if there's any bounce back at all. Now, my guess, it might have taken them everything they had to be able to do a short like they did today. But the trading volume was minuscule, absolutely minuscule. So there was no buy pressure whatsoever to suck up more shares. Maybe that'll change tomorrow, knowing that people can get in at a good cost basis. And I don't know, but looks like my calls are vaporized again. One of these days, a lot is going to work. So, oh well. C'est la vie, as they say. Let's do some burgers.
Houston, we have a problem.
All right. Jumpin' burgers, turn that off. Stubby Ham first. Great Knowles, Houston, happy birthday. How long realistically can Wall Street and the banks keep this beach ball under the water? Well, I would say that the people at Treasury, the SEC, FTC, FDIC, and other regulators and agencies are smarter and better at their jobs than anyone is going to be in the next administration. So they've been able to keep this thing afloat longer than I thought possible. I would have thought that the fact that commercial real estate is worth a dick would have vaporized a lot of these small banks by the end of the year. But the FDIC and other regulators worked really hard. The Fed worked really hard with these small banks to convince them to allow the period of time for when principal is due on these bonds to be extended, hoping that maybe there'll be some sort of resurgence in the commercial real estate market that'll make up for it. Hey, monkey butt, you're doing a lot of bone chewing over there. It's very loud. I know. Hi. Peering over the edge of the ottoman. So I do not have faith that the folks who are going to be put in at the head of these agencies will be as good at their jobs, have as much foresight. There's something to be said about doing maintenance to ensure stuff works versus being reactive to when catastrophes happen. Which, if you want an effective government, you do the maintenance along the way so that when disasters happen, they aren't as cataclysmic as they can be if the entire system goes. But the way Republican administrations operate is they want to gut everything that works as a regulator on the market, and then when disaster hits, they go and then they start like going to the playbook and like printing money and cutting rates and bailing out businesses and doing whatever they can, rather than just sort of nudging here and there and guiding stuff along like a cattle dog or something. So we'll see what happens with this new administration. My guess is that on the 20th and the 21st, we'll see 50, 100, 200 executive orders all signed and submitted within the first couple of days of the administration being sworn in, and that will lead to some rather catastrophic and abrupt changes in the way a lot of systems operate. Farmers who voted largely for Trump are already like, his tariffs are going to bankrupt all of us. Yeah, dude, we were telling you that 6 months ago. And now it's like hitting home. Oh my God, they're going to deport every single person who works for me? How am I going to get my crops to market? Well, you're not. That's how it is. Like, you can't be anti-immigration, but for your particular immigrants, right? But these ones are mine. They should be fine. No, that's not how large systems work. They go, all of you have Hispanic names. We're going to put you in a camp to figure out where you need to go, and that's what they're going to do. So, yeah, you get rid of undocumented immigrants in the U.S. Just undocumented immigrants. Not talking about the documented ones, which we'll probably target next, but the undocumented immigrants, and there goes 8 to 15% of the entire U.S. economy. We talked about it a couple shows ago. The Great Financial Crisis saw a shrinkage of 4% of the GDP. Now we're looking at a possible 8 to 15% shrinkage just from that one action. Let alone the fact that we'll have a housing crisis, commercial real estate crisis, a giant stock bubble, bond crisis. Like, we'll compound all sorts of other things on top of that. I'm going to close this door because somebody's out there talking loud on the phone. But it's his birthday, so he should be allowed to talk loud on the phone. So, yeah, I don't know how long they can keep it going. So, you got me. Alex Bishop. Hi, everyone. Hi, Alex Bishop. Stoopy Ham. Houston. Thoughts on GME's price action today? Please hold your cap upside down again if time permits. Thank you. Go team. Well, she's right there. She could possibly go upside down soon. The fat guy will not go upside down. He will cut the shit out of me. But the skinny little lady, she craves it and likes to sleep that way. So maybe we'll get there. But yeah, the price action today was a very, very, very obviously timed and coordinated short attack. I doubt it was just one entity. I bet it was multiple entities, and doing that is a violation of all sorts of antitrust laws. But they get away with it because, we refuse to give law enforcement powers to the SEC. So 10 years from now, there'll be some sort of $80 fine that Citadel and others will receive for coordinated efforts to do market manipulation. Bad. Don't do it again. And, they'll like pay with a thumbtack or something, and that'll be it. Kelly Reed. Sorry. Alex Bishop first. Any news about BBYQ Sears? The only thing I saw BBYQ was a filing from the estate being like, no, to Ryan Cohen's motion to dismiss. It seemed really weak to me. So I think Ryan's got like till Friday to file a response, which would be like, So that'll just tit for tat until somebody finally makes a ruling. Sears, nothing that I know of. I've not seen anything from Sears yet recently, so don't think so. Because I read, happy birthday, HW. Loving the hype of posts of people buying up the GME discount. People following the stock aren't following market rules and just keep buying and not panic selling. Will dip before rip. I hope so. I really hope it's a dip before rip. I really want to put that thing back up there and get 10 million shares in the money. I forgot to look at how many because there's a lot at $30. A lot of options at $30. I bet we're down quite a bit in the number of shares. That is Google Earth. That's not that one. That's not that one. That's the one we want. Okay. Gmax Payne. We'll refresh that. And I gotta put that guy up there. Yeah, so we cut it in half. We are at 54,000. So 5.4 million shares in the money, which is still a good chunk. Max Payne did not increase. It's still at $25. So all that work they did, and it's the first day in probably 2 weeks where there was no gain on the Max Payne level. Chrome. There we go. So we were at just under 100,000. So we almost cut it in half today. They almost cut it in half today about how many contracts are in the money. That's still a lot. That's still 5.4 million shares. What triggered the May run was 4 million shares going in the money. So we're still at a good space for stuff to happen next week. If we can get some sort of zoom Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then it'll be like nice and delicious. So I would love to put all that in the money though. Wouldn't that be great? I don't think it's going to happen. There was a really big short attack today. Really big. Some of them they probably should have done on Friday last week. But here we are. Oh crap, I turned the daytime one off. Your fault for existing. It's all you, man. Alright, where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. Jiminy Houston, as someone with asthma, your cat story yesterday triggered some deep-rooted fear. I can only imagine having an asthma attack and someone throwing me in the tub for fear I'm going to hurl. Bad kitty. He's like, oh. Well, now you have a new unsubstantiated fear. There you go. Anthony Cordell, happy birthday, Houston. Thank you, Anthony. I thought I'd try to be first, but I think I'm number 10. Maybe next time. There's always a next time. There's been 567 first people so far. So I don't know how many times Stupid Ham's been first. Maybe it's your first. I can't remember. But there's some people who have been first many times. Brendan Wells is supping. Sis54 unzips. Sigh. I guess we're doing this. Bex. Houston's midnight. It's only 9 where I am. Lobie. Woo, made it. Hey, y'all. Antonio Baez working on the night shift. There we go. Rose Moon. Oh, my God. Hey. A Houston watcher commented on my red note post since I mentioned it last stream. I don't know who, but they hoped you would join. Oh, lol. I already forgot what. I probably won't get red note. I've got too many social. I need like a social media person to make sure that videos get cut up and clips go onto different social medias because I just can't. It takes so much out of me just to do a show and talk for 2 hours straight. Oftentimes that the idea of like going back into it and then cutting pieces out and then posting them again, which would take me another 10 hours for a 2-hour show to be like, I'm going to cut this piece out and then post it. I probably would make a fortune on YouTube if I could actually somehow figure out how to do that efficiently. Because when DLSP Black was Black Death was doing it for me. He was like taking video editing classes. Like, oh yeah, I'll cut up pieces out for you. And I was like, awesome. And so for like 6 months, he cut out like 4 or 5 clips a show, posted them. Viewership went through the roof. And I was actually like making decent money from YouTube for once. But then he was like, I've got a life to live. I can't do it anymore. I was like, yeah. So, oh well. But man, I just need to figure out how to like learn how to do it quickly or something. But I just not where my genius lies. I'll tell you that much. When I did my Kickstarter to make my TV show back in 2013, I made a little like 8-minute video, taking together videos from I've gone on adventures and stuff and pieced them together. And I think that took me 10 hours to make that little 8-minute video. It is not at all where my genius lies on how to do that stuff. Where was I? There was Roseman. Okay. Steel Horsehead Nomad. What a bloodbath. My portfolio in ICU trying to cover. Send prayers. Clear. Frozen Productions. Was it Citadel? $500 million. What a waste of money. Hopefully Roaring Kitty does something to reverse a short attack. Yeah, I mean, Roaring Kitty. Come on, man. You can single-handedly trigger this thing because you single-handedly triggered this thing twice already. And then you got slammed down by dilution from the company. But the company said they will not dilute until after the end of the fiscal year. So they won't dilute for the rest of the fiscal year. Which means you got until January 31st to kick this thing off, baby. So do it. Like, what's the point of having hundreds of millions of dollars if you aren't going to mess with everyone with it? Right? You can do good, you can live a comfortable life, and you can fuck up the day of a bunch of hedge fund douchebags. Seems like a no-brainer to me. So, whoever won that Powerball or Mega Millions a few weeks ago, you have the opportunity to do it too. Get out there and just, set aside $50 million. That's more money than you'll ever need. And then you get like hundreds of millions to really just ruin someone's day. Ruin a jerk's day and go down as a hero. Right? So, why not? And you'll probably make billions off of it anyway. We Wild, Houston, good morning. As always, I was right in predicting nothing will happen. Sad but true. Yeah. Season 4. When will Americans say enough is enough? It feels so close to that tipping point. Maybe the MOAS crash will do it. I'm ready to join the fray. Eric, I think Citadel had to spend money to get DJT down today also, so they might be out of capital. Did DJT get hit hard? I did not even look at that. DJT price. Didn't get... It was at 41, finished at 39, went down a little bit. But it was at 34 last Friday, so it went big today, or big yesterday into today. So it's up, $5 from last week. On as far as I know, no news from DJT. Yeah. Trump's net worth surges to $7 billion as Truth Social parent rallies. Cool. Yay. And they still have less revenue than a McDonald's franchise. A middling McDonald's franchise. Says 54, laws don't apply to lawmakers. CEO gets capped, leads to immediate action. Kids get shot, fact of life. Your life, not theirs. They get private school funded by your taxes in form of vouchers. It's true. Vouchers are subsidizing private schools. It's like, we'll give them a $10,000 voucher to go to private school, and the cheapest private school costs $25,000. Which means a poor person still isn't going to that private school, but a rich person now has their kids' private education subsidized to the tune of $10,000, and they're like, cool. Meanwhile, our public schools go unfunded. It's because rich people write the rules. The whole reason why you can have a huge amount of wealth, not pay taxes on it, is because you can borrow against it, spend that money, then sell your stocks to pay off the loan, and you don't pay taxes on any of it. That's a great way to get around it. So the whole reason that's allowed is because rich people wrote that rule as a way so they get around. You and I don't have the type of assets where we're going to be like, well, I will borrow millions of dollars against what I own and not pay any taxes, right? We don't have the assets to do that. But someone who's born into that, hell yeah, they got the assets to do that. Their dad sits them down and teaches them how to do it, right? So, I had a guy on, I don't know why I ever bother, but I do get some fun arguments out of it. But on the Facebook Wall Street Bets, which I've explained many times, is the distilled stupidity in that group is phenomenal. I have never interacted with more people with cognitive disabilities in one place as I have in Facebook Wall Street Bets. They are the dumbest people in existence. I don't know how they tie their shoes. I don't know how they go up escalators. I don't know how they meet people to procreate, because they are so incompetent and stupid. It is mind-blowing. But yet, we've got folks on there who still don't understand how tariffs work. Like, DJT is going to create an ERS, an export revenue service. I'm like, okay, so it's going to cause massive inflation. Why would that cause massive inflation? Well, because the price of everything being wholesale in the United States gets doubled because of the tariffs. Nuh-uh. Okay. Then who pays for it? China does. No, they don't. You pay for it because the importer is now paying more for it. So when they sell it to a store or to you, you now have to pay more for it. Nuh-uh. Yes, because they're not going to sell you anything at a loss. Even if demand goes to zero, right? They'll just stop importing things and you just won't have stuff. We need to make things here. Okay, we can make some stuff here, but other things we don't have the tooling for anymore because we shipped all that tooling overseas. Other stuff is made so efficiently by a number of people we cannot muster in the United States. I've talked about before, the Foxconn factory, the giant Foxconn factory in China where the iPhones are made, employs 600,000 people. That's more than the number of adults in Seattle, which is like the 18th largest city in the US, right? So looking at one factory that employs more adults than one of the most major cities in North America. Not only that, all 600,000 of those people live on campus in dorms. So they don't go elsewhere. They don't leave. They don't have lives. They work 16 to 18-hour days, 6 days a week. They have 1 day a week off. And they make dick doing it. They don't make any money. So if you want to bring that manufacturing here, where now an iPhone costs $1,400 or whatever, now imagine what type of industrial capacity we're going to have to create to get enough people. And one of these ding-dongs, I pointed this out in that the Wall Street Facebook group, one of these ding-dongs like, that'd be a great way to solve the homeless crisis. Dude, 90% of people who are homeless suffer from psychosis or PTSD. And inside that is a whole bunch of drugs and alcohol addiction. You don't want highly sensitive electronic devices being produced by a bunch of nut jobs with substance abuse problems. They need to be in hospital getting treatment. That's where they need to be. You're not going to solve the homelessness process by making a whole bunch of inferior products to what China can produce cheaper. That's not how you're going to do it. So, they're so stupid. They're just the dumbest people. And you point that out, someone's like, you just ignore that Houston guy. You guys can try all the logic you want. You're just not going to get through to him. I'm like, bitch, I teach logic. Like, monkey. They're so dumb. They're just so stupid. Now, it's hard to think when you got Elon's dick in your mouth, right? Isn't it, monkey? Yeah. Your job, right. Okay. I think this dog needs a pig ear because otherwise she's not going to stop staring at me. Plus, she lost her bed to the cats. There you go. All right. Okay. Bam. All right. So, moving on. Where were we? First Day Productions. Remember as a kid reading stories of the traveling snake oil salesman going town to town? Now they're on the internet. Don't think they'll ever go away. Oh, Now they're on the internet and they're like influencers. Uh, uh, what's his butt? Matt Gaetz, who quit the house, revealed that he like traffics children and stuff. He's now selling ivermectin and like supplements on was it OAN News Network or whatever. Like, we buy gold. Get your seed vault now. You want all the ivermectin you need. Like, it's just. Iron and I were talking about this. Like, how much lead, BPAs, microplastics, PFAS chemicals, MBTEs, like, how much is in all of our bodies to make society so dumb? Because, like, when I went to school with a lot of kids. There were some kids I was like, that kid's kind of dumb, right? But for the most part, most of the kids I interacted with, they might not have kind of encyclopedic trivia knowledge I have, but they were witty, they were fun, they could have great conversations, they were fairly well read, and then I meet them as adults and they seem dumb as shit. It's just like there's when you're young, your prefrontal cortex, your frontal lobe has not finished developing. So you have issues with impulse control, acknowledging consequences of your actions, things like that. Like, kids make dumb mistakes. That's why we give more leeway to kind of juvenile delinquent activity of juveniles than we do to full-grown adults, right? Like, if a 14-year-old kid TPs a house, we're like, oh, okay, Timmy, don't do that. But if like a 40-year-old man TPs a house, we're gonna send his ass to jail. Like, come on, buddy, should have grown out of that by now. But like, I think there's something that happens in the human brain when you're 25 or so, when that frontal lobe finishes developing, that can seal who you are, like seal sort of your personality and who you are at that age, and then you like go into your adulthood as this fully formed functioning adult. I think there's also somewhere in there, and I wish there was like a neuroscientist who could pop in here and help me out, where some people, it just turns them into cattle. They just turn into a cow. And they lose the wit, the humor, the drive, the curiosity. It just ceases to exist for them, and they just become this beige person, right? My best friend Nick, he's a for a long time he was the head brewer at multiple breweries, and the people in breweries who work in breweries, they don't make very much money, but they do cool shit. Like, they're around beer because they want to make beer. They like it. They like the science behind it. It's interesting. It tastes good. All that stuff. But like at the same time, they were rock climbers, pro skiers. I don't know, hang gliders. Like, they just did cool stuff and had cool projects. We're constantly building stuff and tinkering and inventing. And then Nick got hired on at Talking Rain as the head of production. Big sparkling water, flavored water company. Huge, $1 billion corporation. And he spent a couple of years there, and he's like, every person I work with is the most boring person. Like, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? They'd be like, oh, I don't know. Probably watch The Bachelor and maybe head to Walmart and do some shopping, and then come to work on Monday. He's like, oh, huh. Look, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I was going to climb a mountain and then ski down. Or I learned how to weld and I built a bicycle in my garage. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Huh. Anyway. And he spent 2 years working at this giant corporate office with highly qualified people. I mean, these people, they went to college, they have degrees, some of them have graduate degrees, and they just don't do anything with their lives. There's nothing interesting about them whatsoever. They have no desires, they have no wants, they have no dreams. They just show up to work, do their job, pick up a sandwich at Safeway, and then show up to work again the next day. And so much of our country are folks like that. Like, when you were a small child, and like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're like, I want to make one PowerPoint a week and watch The Bachelor, because that's some good living. I don't know. I don't think that when you ask that that child with that was what they had as their dream. They had some sort of aspiration or wanted to play a sport or make an art or become an adventurer or something, and then just somewhere along the way, as a society or some sort of functionality of our metamorphosis into adulthood, we just suck that right out of people, and they don't want to do shit anymore. And then you get them real angry about stuff that they've never actually bothered to learn about, and then you get Donald Trump, and that's where we are. Anyway, I don't know how we went from traveling steak salesman to that, but that's where we are. Stubby Ham, quick throwback to the Arnold voice. The kitty cat. Eric, the liquidity. Oh, you like that?
The monkey butt, the monkey. Come here, monkey butt. Give us the kisses, huh?
Okay. Eric, with liquidity crisis, GME needs RK and or RC to make some moves and get institutions to FOMO and big. Retail alone will not cause any big run-up. I mean, if we get ourselves a good old-fashioned bird flu pandemic and they got to cut us some $2,000 checks, we're going to see some serious price action on GME. But until then, yeah, we're going to need a whale to really kick this thing off, I think. Nick Reach Profits. What you think was the reasoning behind the GME price action today? I think Citadel shorting. That's what I think. Rose Moon, Houston. I could be your social media person. I'm Gen Z. I'm qualified. I do need it. Citizen 54, it feels like those games where you pick a superpower and the next person picks how it works. You'll be rich. But in America, dollar's dead. Under this admin. I always wanted to make a story about like superpowers that seem really cool, but then have really weird clauses to them. Kind of like Mystery Men, I don't know, ish. Where like you have the power to fly, but you can't fly over open water. So like you fly over a stream, a river, a creek, a bay, ocean, like you come crashing out of the sky. Or like you're the strongest person to exist, to ever live, but you can only do it while sitting down. Something like that. Like you can lift a car over your head if you have a really sturdy chair. So like, you know, to be a superhero, supervillain, you're like really constrained into like really particular niches. Like you're flying along and someone happens to have like a Fiji water and you just come falling out of the sky because you fly over them. Stuff like that. KCDB, Houston, is love. What is your favorite poem that has personally affected you? Can include song lyrics. Ooh. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a poetry guy per se. I like songs. I like funny songs. Trying to think back to like covers I did doing open mic nights and stuff. And I usually like people at open mic nights are always so serious. I always pick goofy ass songs to do. Like Gwar's Will Kill Everything. And or like Body Counts, Bring It to Pain, which is all about like having rough sex. So like that stuff popping into my head. But like they're very unserious. So I don't know. But I do like them. They do have like, I don't know, they kind of have a purpose. Like We'll Kill Everything is all about, you know, if you don't know the story of Gwar are these like violent aliens that came from outer space and are stuck on Earth, and they think humans are disgusting, putrid filth who deserve to die. And they spend a lot of their time, you know, waffling between, do we have sex with everything around or do we just kill it? Maybe we do both. And that sort of is the essence of Gwar. So like, We Kill Everything is all about this like violent other from outer space that just wants to see the annihilation of all humanity and just giving its reasons why it'd be such a good idea to end it all. And I think through that humor kind of gives like an apocalyptic sense of, I don't want to say like indifference to with all the shit we're doing, but it's a good way of like drawing the focus on, oh yeah, like destroying everything is kind of a bad thing, right? Like you can joke about it in a metal song, but in the end, you know, these weirdos in foam costumes from where they're from Charlottesville or something, right? It's just like a good way of kind of making if people reflect. I don't know, like they're squirting jizz and blood on everyone at their concerts, but in the end, you listen to the lyrics, you're like, oh yeah, I get it now. It's a weird thing to say for a band that has songs called like Sexecutioner and was it like Toddler Prostitute or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. When you like read the lyrics, you're like, oh, okay, that's a deeper meaning than the goofiness that everyone's lending to this. So I don't know. I really can't like think of a poem off the top of my head that really strikes me because I'm not really a poetry reader. Somebody asked my little sister. She loves poetry. She has her own little poetry like Medium account, and she's all about the poetry. But I'm not. I don't think I'm deep on that level. I guess to read a poem and go, yes, that says it all. I don't know. I think something's missing in my brain to be able to truly appreciate it. I can write poems. I remember in my creative writing class in high school, I wrote poems, and my teacher was like, "This is magnificent." I'm like, I'm just fucking with you. I don't really understand why you like this so much. I wrote it 5 minutes before class. I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe Shel Silverstein or something. That's probably as deep as I can get when it comes to poetry. Citizens 4. Do you think Artemis will be canceled? Or will egos prevail and make it the most beautiful rocket? No one makes rockets like us, engineers with tears in their eyes saying, "Sir, your rocket is huge." Well, here's the thing, is that we actually went through 2 administrations where the fundamental philosophy behind NASA went unchanged, which is very rare. Like, from, say, the Bush administration to the Clinton administration, drastic differences happened at NASA. And then from the Clinton administration to the second Bush administration, again, drastic changes happened at NASA. Entire goals were swapped around and mission statements realigned. And then from the Bush administration to the Obama administration, again, they flipped everything outside. But there really hasn't been too much upheaval between the Obama administration to the Trump administration to the Biden administration. So there's actually been some continuity in the way programs are projected to run, which has been very strange. I think a large part of it is because Trump doesn't know enough to like have a concept of what NASA could be used for. He just isn't smart enough for it and doesn't have enough curiosity. So he's just sort of like, yeah, you nerds do your thing. And that's kind of, yeah, do whatever. But with Elon now making a major force into the Trump administration, we may start to see some drastic fundamental changes happen at NASA. It sounds like Elon wants to vaporize it and just go full private, which I think is a huge mistake because we need somebody looking at how space can help people. Think GPS satellites, weather satellites, communication satellites, stuff like that. Like, we need weather satellites. We need NOAA. We need the National Weather Service. If we don't have weather satellites, people die because we don't know what's coming, right? So if we get rid of NASA, then there's no one around to ensure that stuff gets to space and that it operates, right? We might have huge setbacks if these fires ever hit JPL, because that's where we make most of our satellites. That's where most people who are trained to build things like satellites and do space missions do their schooling. So if we take down Caltech, we probably lose 15, 20 years as far in regards to, the new space race. So that's one huge problem with that Eden fire. Hopefully they can knock it down before it gets there. But a lot of engineers have lost their homes in this, and who knows where they're going to be living. So, But yeah, I think Artemis would be a terrible idea to stop because we need to get to the moon, and we need to get to the moon and have a functioning moon base before the Chinese have a functioning moon base. And at this point, the Chinese are much easier to get in lockstep and to get that stuff accomplished than we are here on Earth. Or on Earth, in the U.S. Everyone's on Earth, but here in the U.S. So we need a little bit more 1960s unified drive for the new space race for the moon. Basically, we need to have 400,000 engineers working on it. We'd have a huge portion of our GDP focused on getting to the moon and exploiting resources on the moon. Because if we don't, we will be ruled by our Chinese overlords for the next 10,000 years. So, Frozen Productions. I'm currently reading The Man in the High Castle. My next book is Lightcraft, Flight Handbook LTI-20 Hypersonic Flight Transport. Have you heard of either book? Well, I know The Man in the High Castle. I have never heard of Lightcraft Flight Handbook LTI-20 Hypersonic Flight Transport. No, I have not heard of that one. It sounds like a handbook. Is it got a goofy title, but it's not actually like, flip the Wickenjigger switch and then put the dial to 20 and then pull back on the throttle. It sounds like a how-to for some sort of space machine. I don't know. Mojo. I'd rather pay more for purchases than fund our corrupted government giveaways. Plus, people buy too much crap anyway. We need high-quality products that last and are reliable. We do need high-quality products that last and are reliable. At the same time, other nations still get those high-quality products built from overseas. Just take a visit to Norway. Go to Norway someday. What you will see in regards to what people have at home, the shops available to make their purchases, and how infrastructure works will blow your mind if you're an American. Like, if there's a pothole in the road, you don't just pave over the pothole. You just tear up the road and repave it and make it new again. So everywhere you go in like Oslo and especially major cities and interconnecting highways, right? Every single one of them is smooth as butter, despite the fact they've got lots of freezing and thawing like we do in like the Midwest or the Rockies and stuff, because they just repave the roads. Why? Because they own the road companies. We have maybe some maintenance service and go out and patch a road. But if you want to repave, you got to put out a bid, have like 5 contractors make a bid on it, and then you find the most qualified one who's cheapest, who then it takes 6 months for them to get their shit together and finally start grading the road. Then they grade the road, and then 6 months later they haven't paid shit because they got 5 other contracts fulfilling in 4 different states, and you're stuck bouncing all over the place with fucking orange cones everywhere, and everyone's like getting their tires popped, and then finally they come out and they pave the road, but they pave 1 layer on the road. They're supposed to do 2 layers of asphalt, but they'll come back in the spring because it's a little cold and they'll stand outside to do it, and it'll cost you $20 million a mile. Whereas in Norway, they just have a bunch of dudes on salary whose job it is to repave roads all the time. They go out and repave them. Folks in Norway, if they're going to buy a rain jacket, they buy the nicest rain jacket they can afford because it's going to be the only rain jacket they want to buy for the rest of their lives. So they buy their one rain jacket. They've had it for 30 years and it works great, right? If they're going to buy a bicycle, they're not going to go to a Walmart and buy a Huffy. They're going to go find a Gary Fisher or a Specialized or some high-end brand with great, nice components because this is going to be the bicycle that lasts them the rest of their lives. So you don't have dollar stores in Norway. You don't have big box Walmart type places in Norway. You have some larger stores. You can get your IKEAs and things like that, but like the selection is never shit. It's never garbage. It's always on the higher end and meant to last. There's a reason why you go to Japan and there's Zen Buddhist temples built out of wood that are 1,500 years old. The reason why you go to Norway, there are wood-built stave churches that are 1,000 years old. You go to Bergen and you're inside a candle shop in a building that's been in a pier for 1,000 years, right? relatively unchanged. You look at the wood, you're like, that wood looks brand new. No, that beam is 1,000 years old, right? So there is a fundamental difference in how they approach importing quality. Here in America, we import everything, whether there's quality or not, because we're in this mindset of like, I always need a deal. And that can bite you in the ass and make life much more expensive in the long run. I may have mentioned this story before. That always makes me think about it. When I was in college in Hawaii, in Hilo, there was a Walmart. Everyone shopped at Walmart, and I fucking hate Walmart, and I refuse to ever spend my money there. I just won't go to Walmart. Screw the Walton family. I read a book called The United States of Walmart, and I was like, nope, not for me. So I would have to buy expensive things at other stores. And it didn't mean I avoided, chains or big box stores in general. I just didn't want the plastic cheap garbage that came out of Walmart. Like if you're buying toilet paper, okay, it's something you use once and it goes in the water, it disappears forever. But if you're going to buy something that you're going to use more than once, don't go to Walmart. Just don't do it. It'll cost you more money in the long run. It'll burn down your house, whatever. I had to buy white T-shirts for something. Like like you have to go get 3 white T-shirts for this thing. I think we were doing some sort of project for the Astro Club and like printing on T-shirts or something. And I went and I refused to go to Walmart where I know the white T-shirts would be cheaper. So I went to the Sears that was at the little mall. And I paid $20 for 3 white T-shirts. And things are more expensive in Hawaii in general. And all my friends got their white T-shirts at Walmart and it cost them $9.99. So it's $10 difference. Twice the price of what I bought. They're like, why don't you get these? And I was like, feel the difference. And I felt theirs, and it felt like a lambskin condom. Like this thing is frail. It is going to fall apart in the wash in 6 months, and the shirt will cease to be. This is a really heavyweight cotton, and it's going to last. They're both Hanes, but there's an obvious difference in the quality. So I'm like, okay, these 3 white T-shirts will last me 10 to 20 years. So I'm paying essentially, $1 per year for the 3 shirts. Like 33 cents a year per shirt is my cost basis. So I expect on these things. Your shirts will fail you in 6 months. They'll get holes in them. They'll shred apart in the dryer, and they will cease to exist after 6 months. So you have to go to Walmart and pay another $10 for 3 more T-shirts, right? And so in that first year, you've had to buy 6 T-shirts. I bought 3. We spent the same amount of money. Over 20 years, you have made that purchase 40 times. I made that purchase once. So in the long run, buying quality saved me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You spent $400 on T-shirts over 20 years. I spent $20 on T-shirts over 20 years. So if you have the money, you save money in the long run, right? Because you can afford to buy the higher quality product. You can afford to buy the higher quality bed sheets, the higher quality, pots and pans for your kitchen, the higher quality television, the higher quality couch from Ethan Allen, right? You buy these things and they last dozens or hundreds of years and pass them on to family members. If you are stuck with the cheap plastic Walmart mentality, you're going to go buy the $199 couch at Walmart that's going to be really uncomfortable. It's going to be too small. It's going to be flimsy, right? And it'll fall apart in a year or two. And then you have to go buy another $199 couch, and then another $199 couch, and then another one, and then another one, and another one, and another one. Meanwhile, the rich family has had the Ethan Allen couches for 50 years. So, yeah, you other nations are able to do this and have these nice consumer goods without having to impose tariffs. And they can still import these things from overseas. They still get high quality because there's just a mentality that's different than what we have, which is just plastic shit. Or Temu and Wish items, right? A lot of them are just fucking garbage. But we get it. We're like, oh my God, this looks really cool. It only cost me $5. And a good one costs $50. And you get the one that $5, like, wow, I'm never going to use this. And then you go buy a $50 one anyway. So you spend $55 for the thing. It's yeah. Our future is cooked, man. Low Kenzie. GME AMC, is it time? AMC, no, not time for AMC. Adam Aaron absolutely effed everybody over, and AMC is toast. Especially if we get a bird flu pandemic, then AMC is definitely done for. Because Adam Aaron will give himself $100 million in bonuses while they have like 0 customers over the course of a year and take out billions more in loans, and then I'll be like, oh, what can I do? No, he messed that whole thing up. He was given like this golden ticket, and he just wiped his ass with it, and then gave himself more stock options. GME, maybe if we have a whale come in and do something. Andrew Zeto, Houston just got here, but what's the update about GME and BBY? Dude, the GME price drop today was total BS. Yes, it was, but it was definitely a short tack. BBBY, the only thing I've seen recently is the filing from the estate basically claiming, no, Ryan Cohen did violate the 16B despite the fact we have no evidence of that. Andrew also says, what do you think the play is for GME options? Gamma ramp dead? If for some reason there's a pop, meaning there's a bunch of swaps that are expiring, a lot of them can't find counterparties and have to go out and they have to buy a bunch of shares at some point to make up for it, we could see a pop. And if that happens, that'll put a bunch of the contracts back in the money that they don't have shares for. We might see a gamma ramp for it or a gamma squeeze on Monday. As it sits, we still have 5 point something million. How many do we have in the money? 5.4 million shares in the money for Friday, which is enough to give, some buy pressure for Monday, Tuesday. Not to make it go like, woohoo, like 10, 11, 12, 13 million would, where we were at $33. So I guess kind of like wait and see. Do the whales do something? Is it enough to really make some huge pop for Monday, Tuesday, and that 24th goes nuts? I don't know. We don't quite have the FOMO happening on the mainstream social media. So the people that really aren't involved in GameStop, but who like jumped in 2020 and then forgot about it for 4 years, those folks haven't come back to it yet. If we had some crazy price action this week, I think they would come back to it. But yeah, we're kind of sitting and wondering. I think it's where we are. Turkish, damn Houston, late show. I am popping while watching. You mean pooping? Or are you popping? Turkish, no, Tropic. You can fly, but has the cardio of running, but you go walking speed. Oh, yeah. It's like exhausting, and you're just like struggling to get by. Yeah, I like that too. Blue Smoke H1, Paul Revere's ride. The British are coming. Not really sure what that's in reference to. Am I miss a chat? I don't know. Ciz54. Oh no, I missed a super chat. Off the grid hero. MTLP NextBridge news, next filings. I have seen nothing from NextBridge Hydrocarbons filings. The filing. We've had nothing since November. That was a 10Q. I'm looking for an S1 that means something, or an S4, something like that. We had S1 in August. That's not the one that meant anything. But I want S1 that talks about issuing stuff for their there's their Nuco spinoff, but we're gonna wait on that, I guess. So no, off the grid hero. I got nothing from NextBridge. I haven't seen any recent court stuff talking about the Oro Grande. So I don't know. I haven't seen that yet. Season 54, the thong song was a deep cut for me, right down the middle, wedged deep in my heart. CB Ham, thanks for the late stream. Give me to the moon tomorrow. I hope so. Blue Smoker says it to the moon as well. Season 54's got rockets. Blue Smoker, cameras up our ass stuff. Let's effing go. Michael Anthony, MFA rebound with book value of $18.42, which rebound with upgrades over $11 with highs of $9.94 to close at $9.86, to be up in after hours to $9.95, which pays a 35-cent dividend per quarter. That's pretty darn good dividend for a $9 stock. You go there. You go there. It is MFA. Oh, MFA Financial. Where were we over the last few whatevers? So it's been $10 for last week. As high as 11 the last month. As high as 13 the last 6 months. 13-ish, 13, 15 was the high in September. In 5 years, been as high as $30 back in 2020. Crashed, like everything else did in 2020. Didn't quite recover. So it was a $30-$40 stock for the last 20 years. In 2020, crashed it down to absolutely nothing. Crashed down to where were we? What's your low there? Your low is $4. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Duh. So $30 stock down to $4 from COVID crash, and rebounds up to 20, and then has been sitting around $10 basically ever since 2022-ish. But look at the all-time here. $40 stock, $20 stock, $40+ stock, $20 stock, $40 stock, $20 stock, 30, 30, 30, 40, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, crash. That was COVID, and they've never returned. So 35 cents a quarter, it's pretty good returns. Very good returns, actually. So yeah, that's seems like something to get in on cheap. But they are residential mortgage-backed securities and other real estate assets. So, hopefully not commercial. Who knew? It says before, oh my god, we're gonna get the rocket from Austin Powers. Johnson! Smoker, I got one of those Walmart chairs once, and it just, right? Just falls apart. Offer here says bummer about the next bridge non-filings. And Aaron Sound, I'm at the end of the chat, but it's late. It's late at night. You guys are like half asleep anyway. Or I got a bunch of Europeans like, getting their coffees ready. Aaron Salentine, wouldn't this hurt the hedge? Oh, the hedge. It's supposed to be hedge funds and Citadel. They used up all the capital in more naked shorting, and if the stock creeps back to $33, $35, aren't they even more royally screwed? Yeah, because they'll be underwater on all the shorts they did this week. They shorted from 31 down to 27, so if we go above 31, oops, you're now underwater again. So yeah, more liability for sure. That's the only play they have is they go short it more, and they produce more liability. They produce more leverage against them in the long term, and they got to go out and float $500 million bonds to do it all over again. They can push the books around and stuff like that. Robert Pierpoint, MSTY is the way, paid an average of 10% dividend per month last year. That's 120% a year. That's insane. MSTY price. Yield Max MSTR option strategy ETF. It looks like it's $20, $30, $29. MSTY dividend. Yeah, you're looking at per month about 10%, sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but yeah, about 10% a month. Annual dividend is more than you pay for the stock. It's kind of like coin. Coin's also 100 something percent, I believe. Yeah, so that's one of those set it forget it ones, huh? Not too shabby. I have no idea what they even do. Option income strategy MSTY does something. Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm at the end of the chat, and I did my hour show. So maybe I'll do this last Aaron Salentine one, and then call her a day until I see you guys tomorrow evening some point. I'm doing lunch with going to a museum and lunch with my aunt, and we'll see about what the afternoon holds for us. Aaron Soundteam, they could have used that capital to close the short position and get out, but instead all they do is double down on the short position. They're addicted to shorting at this point. Yeah, because they're pissed off. They're pissed off this company has not died yet, and they want it to die, and they only know one trick, and that's to make it try and die, but they've got more... GameStop has more cash on hand than Citadel does, because Citadel had to borrow $500 million to short GameStop. Think about that. Yeah, Citadel controls $60 billion in assets or something, but they don't have $4 billion in cash. If they did, this thing would have been shorted months ago. Yeah. Oh, Rob Here Point, it's an options play on MicroStrategy. That's what MSTY is. Okay. All right. Word. All right. Aunt James, I'll just tell your aunt hi for all of us. I'll say hi, Aunt Deb. All right, everybody. Thank you for my short little show. I'll see you guys at some point tomorrow, and then I'll see you Thursday, and I'll see you Friday, and then I'll see you next week, and whatever. So have a great night. Cool. All right. Let's do regular After Dark. Moon. Oh, you ready to bail monkey? Chicken's getting groomed over here. Look at the fat guy. He's just like sitting on the kitten, grooming the heck out of her, and she's just loving every second of it. Ah, to be a cat. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great night.